Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again to the Boo Shakalaka Podcast. I am your host, Tiffany, and I'm joined by my co-host, Pierre.
Marcy likes a nice round ass, don't you, Marcy?
I don't know.
Jawbreaker, come on, come
Oh
on.
gosh, that's so long ago. I haven't seen that movie in
That's
years. My
sad.
goodness,
That is
I
sad.
haven't seen it in years. Well, to continue on with our Valentine's month, we are here with 2003's rom-com, uh, Freddy versus Jason. I don't know how this came up, but I did find this lovely photo of them at JC Penney. They got together and had a little photo shoot. Probably cost $29.99. I'm not sure, but anywho, there's a quick synopsis for this, and I really appreciate it. Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees return to terrorize the teenagers of Elm Street. Only this time, they're out to get each other too. Perfect.
Get the hell out of here. Who wrote that?
This was on IMDb. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss.
So,
Yeah,
regardless
so
of how you...
I just want to say one thing. This is Freddy's movie.
Oh, yes. Yes.
That's it.
Regardless of how you feel about the movie now, this movie was huge when it came out. Like, they literally had like all the press. They even did a you know how when they do the boxing, they do that thing where they go and they get weighed in and they cuss each other out, and like they even did that. And I was
it's just called the weigh-ins.
oh, well, excuse me. But yeah, they even did that, and I was like, damn, they really went all out for this movie. So yeah, I'm very proud that I chose this one.
I'm not sure how it fits with the theme, but
Because there's this starstruck love.
Continue.
So now, and this is where you're gonna have to help me here because I know you're the horror movie expert. I've only seen all of the Freddy movies. I've only seen I was about to say Nightmare on Elm Street. I've only seen Camp Crystal Lake, Friday the 13th. There it is. I only seen Friday the 13th. The first one, and I've seen Jason X, and I've seen Jason Goes to Hell. Everything else in the middle, no idea. Nothing. So I don't have any context of Jason and his murders, because last time I thought about Jason before this movie came out, I thought Jason had a chainsaw. So the machete thing threw me off completely. So,
did you watch the most recent remake? I think it came out like 2009.
Oh yeah. That was good.
That one too? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's killed somebody in a sleeping bag before, so he'll use anything.
Yeah,
but the most popular one is the machete.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we start this movie off amazing, like cinema. We need to have a return to cinema. So we basically get Freddy kind of introducing himself and who he is, what he's about, and we just get this like montage of all the Freddy movies, all the kids he's killed, and subsequently them beating his ass. And he basically just explains that, you know, he was a child murderer. Parents killed him. He came back. He was killing kids. Then they found a way to forget about him. So basically what happened was he was doing all these murders, and then they basically wiped him away from people's memories. They put people in contact with him in Weston Hills, and because apparently kids' fear gives him his power. That's new. Don't recall that at all from any of the movies, but whatever.
That was literally the point of the first movie.
Was it? Come on now. I do not remember the fear thing. I was like, I thought.
Do you remember how Nancy ended up killing him? How she was able to kill him?
She pulled him into the regular world, and then
she turned her back on him and didn't fear him anymore. And she was able to, you know, kill him.
Right, even though he killed her mom, like at the end of that fucking movie.
So yes, fear is what. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I don't recall, but okay. because I guess they weren't going to mention the dream demons that they introduced in Freddy's Dead, but whatever.
No, none of that. Like demons in the pizza as meatballs. No, we're gonna skip that. We're gonna
It's-
skip all of that. Welcome to prime time, bitch. We're gonna skip all of that.
and so he basically explains that he searched the bowels of hell and he found someone who's going to make the children of Elm Street remember him. And that's
Mhm.
when we're introduced to Jason, even though he sucked Jason to hell and Jason goes to hell. Um, and we get this titty montage that we did not need.
Nope, too many
Mike,
titties.
I was just like, I guess you had to. But yeah, because I don't feel like Nightmare on Elm Street had nudity. I feel like that was a Jason thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't remember seeing the tits.
I think so for the most part.
Okay. So yeah. So we have a titty moment and it's Jason in a dream, and then his mom comes to him. Mind you, she pissed me off. Cause why you skinny dipping at night and you jump in the water and then 5 seconds later, it's not funny anymore. You didn't even wait for him to come, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, Jason's mom comes to him and she's just like, go to Elm Street. The children are very bad. She resurrects him and he goes walking. And of course we're introduced that it's Freddy and it's his scheme.
So, do you know? So Jason walked from Camp Crystal Lake, right,
Fuck you.
to Springwood, Ohio, which I googled is considered northwestern Ohio, which is the
Where's
tap to the corner. It is 450 miles
what? Wait,
from
where's
northwestern Crystal Lake, New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Oh, see, and Jason walks slow. Well, what he didn't walk slow in Jason, and when he was in New York and he knocked that lady down.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so anywho, go ahead.
Well, we're gonna assume that he left the year before, and so we're introduced. Well, I mean, he actually goes to Freddy's old house, which I thought was interesting because how do you know where to go? Like he just smelled children like Hocus Pocus. Um,
Winnie.
and we're introduced to our main characters. We're introduced to Lori, because she has big boobs, and we're introduced to Kia and Gib, and they're just three girls hanging out. I guess the power's out, so they ain't watching TV. They're just playing Mary Fuck Kill. And so I don't even think their characters matter. Gib's the drunk high one, Lori is the sweet innocent one, and Kia is like the sassy black friend. And
He
so
is the cock blocker.
and so she seemed like she was trying to get her some cock. And yeah, they're drinking and Jason's already outside, like, and it is very spooky. It's a stormy night, and so Gib's going to go out to get more liquor because she's not drunk enough. And
Well,
so
Gib was actually, the friends were really surprised because Gib started smoking again. This is important because I wrote it down.
I hate
So
you.
so she's headed out to go get more beer. She opens the door and boop, there's Trey, who is her boyfriend, followed by Blake, who is Trey's friend.
Mhm.
So he leans in and gives Gib a kiss, and he's like, "Oh, babe, you know I don't like to kiss you after you smoked." Ah,
Eh,
he's something
non-redeemable
else.
characters, non-redeemable characters.
He's
No,
something
the
else. And then,
scenes.
but Blake is there for Lori. Who is
Mhm.
there for Kia?
I'm gonna assume that they're. I'm just not because they don't hang out with black guys. And so the kicker from the this whole scene was Kia talking about I want a nose job, and I was like, who the fuck wrote this? And did they mean to cast Kelly Rowland when they wrote this character?
Yeah, I
Because
feel it's kind of racist.
yeah, because I'm like, and then her white friends have to tell her that she don't need a nose job. I'm like, girl, what the
You're beautiful. Love the skin that you in. You my beautiful dark chocolate queen.
it was just so random. Like, do you guys think I need a nose job? That'll matter later. That's why I'm
Yeah,
mentioning.
you're right. I don't think it was. I think it was just written, and then they picked up Kelly because
Yeah.
she was on a break from Destiny's Child
Hmm.
right before
And
her
so,
self-titled debut. Uh, what was that song?
motivation, or was that too?
That was like 7 years ago.
Was it the song with Nelly? I don't remember.
God, I can't remember the name of that
I'm not a
song.
music person. I thought. I mean, you're.
Oh no, she was singing in a tree.
Fuck you.
What was the name of that song?
Fried green tomatoes.
Stole.
Oh, okay. Never heard it.
Oh, I mean, it was like a inspirational song, so that's why nobody liked it.
Okay, well, I was 12. Anyway, um, Trey and Gib, I noticed a lot of shit in this movie when I rewatched it that I didn't. Trey and Gib over there not kissing. They making kissing noises, but not once did he kiss her. Not once did they just like grinding on each other to My Very
He
First
just
Time
said,
by Marcus Houston. And so,
"Who picked that song?" You know, you must have watched the movie with your headphones on.
no,
You
I don't
heard
know.
it? I've
Yes.
never heard that in the background.
Yeah, I was like, what the? And so,
My very first in the house, on the couch in your parents' bedroom. Remember?
And
I looked to see if it was on the soundtrack. It is not.
oh, they lame for that. And
Yeah.
so I know they had to pay for it though. Anyway, so yeah, they grinding and stuff, and he like, come massage a kink out of my neck. And she like, okay, well, I need some more drink. He talking about don't make me ask you twice.
Babe, don't make me ask you twice.
That shit does not turn me on. Bitch, you gonna say it 1,000 times before I get a bad. In fact, I would have sat my ass down. I would have farted. I would have done everything to turn him off. Like, don't play with me. It's not your. First of all, this is
You
her.
would have farted.
He lives in this house with her dad, and they go upstairs and fuck in her dad's bedroom. Like, excuse me? With the most.
I'm gonna hope that was the guest room because that was a really large house.
I'm just like, literally, excuse me, with the door open, lackluster sex. Like, it's just like,
oh my god, it was terrible. Like, yeah. Like, are you okay, girlfriend? Like, are you really that drunk? Because this sounds terrible. It was just gross. Her movement was like, it reminded me of fucking Jessie Spano in Showgirls when she was fucking the guy in the hot tub.
Thank you.
After they finished.
That scene always circulates on Twitter. I hate
splash. So after they finish hooking up, they're laying together, and Gib tries to cuddle Trey, and he's like, "Babe, you know I don't like to be touched." She's like, "Well, fuck you. I'm gonna go take a shower." Why are you with this guy?
Literally, no, I'm the same excuse we always give because it's high school, and that's what the high school girls want. That's the guy that they like for some reason.
Yeah.
I always wonder how did they get to the romance part where they're in love? Because he was an asshole. I know he was not just sweet before and then he started being an asshole. It's rarely ever like that.
I don't think there is a romance part. Just quality time, and you equate that to being in love.
Gotcha. So in the meantime, Kia is trying to set Lori up with Blake, and Lori is not feeling it because this bitch is 18 years old talking about, well, this guy that I dated when I was 14, what we had was real. And I'm like, this is so unrealistic. Like 14 and you just haven't dated anybody. And then she's trying to blame it on like the fact that her mom died, but her mom died when she was 14 too. So it's like, we're not even about to use the Sidney Prescott thing because your mom been dead 4 years. If your dad is that codependent on you that you need him that much, something's wrong. Because I didn't buy the whole. I mean, I understand he's a trash guy, but just this whole, well, what we had was y'all are 14.
Yeah.
Stop playing with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Blake is gross and dumb, and of course the door opens when he goes to get beer, and he don't think nothing of it. He just closes it and whatever. So we get more titties. And because Gib has to take a shower, and we have to see her taking a shower with no suds. I fucking hate when they do that in movies. Because what is she doing? What is she washing off?
She just rinsed it off.
Yeah, she just rinsed off like the sex juices. I noticed in the movie. I noticed too. This is terrible, but I noticed she had that candle very close to the towels because the lights went out, so she had a candle with her in the bathroom, and the candle was right next to the towels, and I was like,
I didn't even notice.
So Trey turns over. And he grabs a beer. That's gross. And he's like drinking the beer in bed. And then he sees Jason. Best kill scene of the movie, in my opinion, because he just like relentlessly stabs him. And then he went over. I don't know Jason. So I don't know if he does overkill, but I feel like the bed was a bit much. Like when he lifted the bed up and squished him, that was a bit much for me.
He folded them like a compact. Like,
yeah, it was just like, it has a bit much. And so
Bit
she,
him his ass backwards.
I'm like, I know he stabbed him a lot, but there was just a lot of blood in this movie. Like no gore, just blood.
A lot of red paint.
Yeah, and so when she steps like on it and then she goes and she sees the body, this was the most realistic part because that's exactly how I would have reacted. Like her not even getting dressed in the towel in the rain and they just screaming out in the street like nobody got a cell phone. And and the cop is like, y'all need some assistance? What the? That was hilarious. Hilarious.
You know, I don't know why we have to go over this every week, but you have a noise canceling
Did it really just
microphone,
cancel that?
so nothing came out. I need you to open up the manual and see if you can turn it off.
Well, if I turn it off,
Turn off the not turn off the entire microphone. Turn off the noise cancellation.
I don't know if you can. You didn't hear what the fuck could you think?
I heard it now. Thank you. So there it is.
Damn you, microphone. You weren't doing this before. So the cops come and they're acting very shady and really suspicious and very weird about the whole thing.
No, we're at the police station now.
Well, remember they're at the house first. When they say that, when he's like, it had to be him, right? It had to be Freddy Krueger. And so that's when she hears his name. And then they go to the police station.
Okay.
And that's when Greg from Scary Movie is like, like,
take it to our graves.
He's like, what's going on? And like the police chief is just like an asshole. Like, I'm so tired in movies.
So the chief or the sheriff is talking to another, I guess, deputy. And he's like, we killed him years ago. It can't be him. It can't be him. It can't be Freddy. And the sheriff's like, hey, zip it, throw it away. We don't mention that name. And I'm thinking to myself, so there is nobody in this town named either Frederick, Fred, or Freddy in the whole town of Springwood, Ohio.
I don't know, because in Freddy's Dead, remember, the whole town was dead. So I'm really surprised that the town's populated again. Because in Freddy's Dead,
a lot of this is Redcon.
Okay, because I'm just like, everybody was killed in Freddy's Dead. That's why he had to, go around and leave the town. So it's like,
so stupid.
How are y'all? How do y'all remember him? Because y'all supposed to be dead.
Yeah, I really feel like this is probably just a sequel to part 1.
Damn.
Maybe even part 2. Maybe no, Hypnosil.
No, because part 2 was terrible.
Part 3.
Okay,
up to
part 2 was terrible.
Well, remember the Hypnosil was introduced in part 3 when Nancy came back. Yeah, so I think this is probably like all of those are the precursor to this movie.
Okay, thank you. Because
the Dream Child and all that bullshit,
baby.
We threw that away.
Ain't nobody got powers in this movie. And
welcome to prime time, bitch. I still like that part. So Lori is sitting in a room and she puts her head down and she's trying to remember the name that the sheriff and the other cop were talking about. She's like, what's his name? What's his name? What's his name?
Dramatic ass acting.
Her eyes are closed and then she opens them and says, Freddy. And then she looks up and the entire police station is empty. So she does her slow walk, trying to figure out what's going on. Hello, is anybody there? And she sees this little girl like leaned up against the wall. So she goes over to check on her, and the girl turns around, like, what is it? She doesn't have any eyes or something?
Yeah, it's the girl from the beginning in the movie. And yeah, her eyes are gone. And
jump scare.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. And so, she's just like giving her Freddy's rundown, like he loves children, especially little girls. And she gets, thrust into this dream world, and we get like a little, I guess, I don't know if you would call it an Easter egg, because she's in front of her house and the door gets bloody, but it's basically to show that the door was red at one point. And then she hears the song, and then she sees him and wakes up. This is why I don't like the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay, tell me why.
Because like I said, I've seen all the Freddy movies, so I know Freddy. I've done the research. He was never, it's like, the remake had him as a pedophile. When the original, he just like killing kids. And I feel like now people always conflate the two, and they always are like, oh, he was a molester. And I'm like, no, that's the remake did that. And the remake ain't go nowhere. So,
well, the true fans.
Yeah. And so, because that line made me think of that. And I was like, well, he
was a little touchy in this movie. He was a little rapey.
He was always rapey with them as teenagers, but you know.
True. Not when they were children. You're right.
Mhm.
You're right. So what happens? She wakes up and then she leaves?
No, she wakes up and then that's where we're at with Blake's house. And Blake's dad
Oh,
is this is his first
wait.
time acting
Wait.
clearly. What?
Dad, my best friend was just killed. So how about giving me some fucking space? He reminded me of the teacher on Daria. You remember
Oh
him?
my god! The one, wait, the teacher or the principal? The one like, oh, the one who's like, beat somebody head, you're expelled. That was the principal. The teacher.
No, he was like, Daria, you need to go to school because we're going to talk about this.
Oh, that was the coach. That was
Okay.
the coach. That was the coach.
My best friend was fucking killed, Dad.
A lot,
Killed,
a lot of
Dad.
first time actors in this movie. And of course, because he's white, he's just like, you watch yourself, boy. And he just goes inside. I was like, oh, okay, though, that was easy. And then I guess he just falls asleep on the bench. This is the scary thing about Nightmare on Elm Street to me. I hate when they don't know they're asleep. Because I always know when I'm asleep. How the fuck you don't know? And so there's a goat. Why the fuck was the goat there? I hate Freddy.
Well, I guess like a goat is a sign of evil. You know, usually when there's things about the devil, a goat always has a part with it. I don't know. I didn't read the Bible.
So,
Wait a minute. Flag on the play. Flag on the play.
and so he goes out in the street and Freddy attacks him with this cool ass shadow. But he goes like the shadow goes right through him. And he's like, I'm okay, I'm all right. And so Freddy determines that, he's not strong enough yet. Duh, bitch. He only even killed one person.
He says, not strong enough yet. Guess I'm gonna let Jason have some fun.
I hate you so much. Why are you doing this? And so Blake wakes up and he sees that he's okay. And then he looks over at his dad, who's just like has this expression on his face. And he's like, what the fuck, Dad? Jason is so fucking petty. Because why did you decapitate him and then put his head back on his body? And wasn't no blood coming out, nothing until he touched his dad. Then the head drops off and it starts squirting. And then he sees that Jason's behind him. And this part was funny to me because I couldn't figure out. Because remember, he holds his dad head up in defense of himself. So I couldn't figure out if the blood came from his dad's skull or him at that moment when Jason just slashes him. I was like, so did he just cut his dad's head open even more? Like, are machetes that sharp to where they go through two people at once? But okay. Whatever. And so we're back at Lori's house, and her dad is trying to poison her with Hypnosil and orange juice. Don't nobody drink.
So the next part, we're at Weston Hills, and we actually see all of the kids there, and we see that they're getting Hypnosil. We see Will, who Lori was in love with, and his friend Mark, and Will
look like he needs to be there.
Yes. So Will sees on the TV that tragedy struck the Lori's house. So he's like, we gotta think of a plan. We gotta get the fuck up out of here. And I'm thinking to myself, you've been there for 4 years. This is the only time you wanted to escape. Like nobody came to see you. Your parents. He mentions in the movie nobody came to see him. Nobody wrote him. Nobody called him. And this is the time you want to escape. Like you never wanted to escape before.
This 14-year-old romance is too much for me.
But if they're 18, why aren't they free?
Because I don't know, because ain't nobody got no lawyer. Did you notice that the TV, like the news TV, like the TV channel was KRGR? Krueger?
What's that mean?
Krueger?
Oh, Krueger.
It's funny that we did Bride of Chucky starring John Ritter, and then we get Jason Ritter in this movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was very interesting. Yeah, I get what you're saying, and then he like. So y'all been there this whole time and now y'all want to cause trouble. He like, fuck you. And I'm like, y'all chill out, first of all.
So they think of a plan to get out of there and they start acting up in their room at night, and security comes in there and kind of shakes Mark. They get into a little tussle and the security runs out, and Mark actually took the guard's key swipe to get into the building, and they end up escaping that night, running off in the rain. It rains a lot in this fucking movie, by the way.
It does. They must.
What is the season?
Sure they're in Ohio? And so
it rains in Ohio. I've been there a couple times.
Oh yeah, it rained in the faculty.
Yeah, it sure the hell did.
So okay, they escape. Now we're at Lori and her dad's trying to poison her with who drinks a full ass glass of orange juice in the morning? The glass was
Biggest glass.
huge.
It was at least 24 ounces.
I was like, oh my god. You could just give us some coffee, like some water.
Nope.
Like, damn.
Nope.
Oh my god. And so
The
she don't
whole
want to.
team.
She don't want to take it, but she still barely like she's falling asleep and doing like, girl, take the fucking orange juice. And it's crazy because at no point in this movie do they go back home and try to find the hypnocil, but whatever, because it's clearly at home. He got a whole fucking bottle of it.
Yes, because he tells her, take this pill. Well, actually, it's not at that part. It's a couple parts later, but she tells him to take this. The dad tells her, okay, we'll get to it later.
Yeah.
So he's still acting really creepy. Lori falls asleep. She sees Freddy. Her dad turns into Freddy, and then she jumps up. She's like, oh, it's nothing, Dad. I gotta go back to. I gotta go to school. So Lori gets to school. She's hugging Kia and Gib, and Gib ends up telling her that Blake died too. And Kia jumps up and says the dumbest, most infamous line of the movie. Her second. Kia had the worst fucking dialogue. And she says, the police are blaming everything on Blake like it's some Columbine thing or something.
You sound just like they're saying that he went crazy. She was trying to get that fucking, she was gonna get that Oscar. She was gonna get that Oscar.
I get it because the kids did go crazy at Columbine, and I guess the kids went crazy here. But the correlation was just off.
Yeah, because there were no guns, and they were like, but I didn't understand that either, because she was like, the police are basically saying Blake killed Trey and then killed his dad and then took his own life. But that didn't, they didn't even touch the parents at Columbine. They just went straight to school.
Right, and then they also they kept talking about Blake and his dad got stabbed. Nobody mentions that his dad was decapitated.
Yeah, they said stabbed to death, and I was like, no, he slit him. So I don't.
Yeah, so then we meet another person. We're introduced to too many people at too many different times in this movie. Like I had to go and Google some of these people's names because I couldn't remember. So Linderman comes up. He is the nerd without glasses, and he's actually a cute guy, which makes no sense. And he has a crush on Lori, but Lori doesn't want to talk to him because she's still hung up on Will. So Kia fries him for no reason. Like, she's definitely a cock blocker because it's like, you want to hook Lori up with Blake. She doesn't like Blake. But she's cool with Linderman. Maybe Linderman is the person she should talk to because Will's not here.
Okay.
This makes sense to me.
Okay, I'll give you that. I did not like Linderman growing up. And I thought it was hilarious when she called him a fucking frou-frou dog that keeps humping her leg.
Watching it now, he was fine.
Yeah, he was fine. But yeah, okay. So, well, I will say this. He lacks boundaries because even though her and him weren't friends, there was a murder at my house the night before, ma'am. I mean, sir. So you trying to get with me in the midst of that feels a little predatory. That's all I'm gonna give Linderman. Like, you can say, hey, just checking on you, hope you're good. But after that, you do kind of need to back up because somebody was murdered at my house. Like, I can't go home. Like, how are they able to go home? No, I want to go home. Tiffany. Tiffany. I just realized that they were in their house. How were they able to go home? It's a crime scene. You know what?
I heard only bits and pieces of that due to your shitty microphone.
Are you saying cut out everything?
I understood it at the end. Yes. So I guess maybe just that bedroom was taped off because that's the only place that the murder took place in.
That is lame. They would not let you back in that house.
I agree. But her dad is a very prominent figure in the town, so they probably were able to let him back in. I mean, that everybody knows that job shadows at the asylum. He be doing stuff.
And so
the hallway scene was stupid. Do the hallway scene.
Which part? The part where...
Oh my god, guys, I had a dream last night.
Okay, so let me run through the dumb shit first. So these 40-year-old high school students are passing out rave flyers because I didn't know they did that in high school. I thought when there was a party or a secret rave, you kept it a fucking secret and it went word, like, it's not like
it's like
10 things I hate about you. Yeah, it's not like 10
things
I hate about you where you drop the flyers in the fucking hallway. Like, I'm like, why are they giving out flyers about a rave and the teachers are around? But whatever.
Who went to Kinko's?
They were laminated. Fuck you. They were laminated.
God, I'll never forget having to do like our final project and we had to go to Kinko's in college, our senior project, and it was like 100 pages at Kinko's. It was so fucking expensive, and it's so rude of those teachers. Fuck y'all.
And so basically there's gonna be a raid tonight, and they're trying to say, oh, it's to honor my boy Trey, like a bunch of white men doing this bullshit. Anyway, and so Lori comes up and she's like, well, I want to go because I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Can you hear me? Because I have to talk how she was talking. And she's like, well, I was, and they were like, well, girl, you fell asleep in the police station. We understand. She's like, no, no. And there were these girls, and they had these razor fingers, and he was terribly burned. And she was just crying. Like, it was a great acting scene. I'll give her that. But it was and
But
then
she went from
everybody
like 1 to 10,
literally, she
like
was just
so
bawling,
quick.
and I'm like, girl, what happened? We were just in the hallway. But you notice that in the background, all the other students, because the hallway is so fucking narrow, are like turning around, like, what the fuck she talking about? Like everybody just stops in their tracks and they're like looking. It was very good. Like the extras did very good at doing that. And she's just spilling it about Freddy. And then here come fucking Mark. 1, 2, Freddy's coming. And then he tell Freddy's
His
origin.
name is Freddy. He used to kill kids back in the day. He's gonna come for you. You know what? If you're sleepy, get some coffee. Make friends with it.
That reminded me when Nancy took that cup of coffee and downed it in the first movie. And so he literally gives Freddy's origin, social security card, all kind. Like, boy, what are you doing? Like, I was just like, what? Where y'all get these clothes from? And anyway, but yeah, and then she gets all freaked out, and then you notice they came in on opposite ends of the hallway. I hate this. See,
Well, because they were looking for her.
oh, okay. And so Will comes up and he's like, Mark, you're scaring her, man. And then she's like, Will. I'm like, okay. They recognize us after 4 years. That's great. And so, she touches his cheek and he's like, yeah, I thought you might be in trouble. Then this bitch faints. It's just a lot going on in this hallway.
Have you ever fainted?
Never. I've always, and I used to want to because I was like, I wonder how that feels. Now I'm terrified because
I have before. I was sick though. So first it feels like you gotta throw up. Then your head starts spinning. And then you're talking, and then the next minute you're waking up on the floor. Like you really don't know what happens. And this happened to me in public.
Oh.
And I was with my boyfriend at the time, and he was like, we had just got to this event. I fainted.
Oh my God.
We didn't even get to see the concert. Nothing.
Were you dehydrated?
Mm-mm.
That is terrifying. Because excuse me, I didn't. Nobody talks about the throw up part. I just thought they just go.
Yeah. Well, I think mine had something to do with me just being sick or something.
Oh, okay.
But I still passed out. So yeah, without me like being drunk or anything. Like I wasn't drunk.
Yeah.
And I still passed out. It was just crazy. So man,
they make it look so glamorous in movies. Like
I've been through it. He said I just kind of just like was leaning on him, and then it was just dead weight. And he was just like, oh, leaning back, trying to put me down on the ground. Mess. So okay, so Lori's now in the nurse's office. Kia
on that small ass bed. On that twin bed.
I think it was like 24 inches wide. It was the length of a water bottle. Yeah. So she's laying on it, and Kia and Gib are out there, and Kia's looking into a magazine that has some articles about having the perfect face, having the perfect body
at a school,
and at a school. Yeah, and she sees like some gruesome photos of plastic surgery, just very nasty things. I'm crazy because if somebody says some kind of procedure, I'll go look it up. I'll look at the pictures. I don't care. I mean, I don't want to see it in person, but I'll go look at the pictures.
That makes sense, though. That makes sense.
Yeah,
I feel like
it's surgery. It's it's medical. Like it's not like somebody playing around.
Yeah.
So Kia, she's
Doctor knows.
That sounded really good. Freddy's finger gloves go up and they hook into her nose, and then he pulls it, and it is the worst CGI ever. So he pulls like a piece of sausage off of her face, and it falls to the ground. She wakes up screaming, and everybody's looking at her like, girl, you okay? Because Freddy's not strong enough, so he's just fucking with you. He's just giving you night terrors at this point because he can't
for no reason. Like it's literally just gags at this point. Like, what are you doing, sir?
Well, I mean, it's just like, so what I wonder is, so now that the whole town knows, are they the only ones dreaming about Freddy? Like, why isn't anybody else that was in that hallway dreaming about Freddy?
Maybe they are. Well, maybe I don't know, because maybe like
you know what? I know what it is. They didn't have the budget.
Because my thing is, why are you just these kids? Why you don't even really know them? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, why are you? Maybe it's just the whole house thing. Maybe he has a fixation on whoever lives in his house. That's the only thing I think of. Because I'm like, you had about 40 bodies you could have got before you even got to these kids. But He only stalks them. So we move past that, and so Will and Mark are like they go on this hunt. Why they are
They're in the
still in the school?
library.
Why
They're
were
in
they
the
still
no,
in the
no, no.
school?
They're at the regular library because they leave. They run out of the school. They're at the
But why
town
were they still
library.
there? That's what pissed me off. Like,
No,
why were
they
you still?
left.
But they didn't leave until after she fainted, until after the cops showed up. Because remember
Oh, well,
the
yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, why are you
So
still there?
after that, they're at the town library looking at microfiche. And I appreciated them looking at that because, like lately everybody's
Oh.
just going to internet search or, web search. It's never Google, because they can't pay for that. But it was refreshing to see microfiche. And then they see like a lot of the articles have blacked out to cover up any of the murders that have anything to do with Freddy Krueger. And Mark knows because his brother committed suicide and that's not listed in the paper as well. So they know what's going on, and they come to the conclusion like I feel like they're on like this game show, and you have your partner and there's a question, and once
Mhm.
you start talking you immediately know what the answer is, because Mark figures out that Freddy isn't strong enough yet. So now that we've brought him back up, he's going to come back and terrorize everybody because
Mhm.
this was his plan, and we've ruined the whole town's secret pretty much.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, yes, blame yourself because you're fucking idiot. You could
Yeah.
have easily called Lori to the side and said, "Hey, Lori, I know what you're going through." But no. You wanted to tell everybody, you
Like, what happened
motherfucker.
to the movies where you call the person and y'all meet at the coffee shop and y'all whisper like and so yeah, they and it was like a couple of scenes, like there's back to back of them like figuring it out and everything. It was a lot of exposition using these two
It was
characters.
like immediately.
Yeah, they like
Immediately.
figured it out. And oh, Will was pissing me off because he's sitting there doubting the whole fucking shut up. Like, just shut up. You're doing too much. Like well, what about what fuck you? And so for some reason though, Mark decides to give Will the keys to his van so that Will can go and save Lori, and he's just gonna stay at home. I'm not staying by myself.
No,
I'm not
because I
staying by
need you to wake
myself.
me up. You know what's going on. So anyway, they get to this brave maze hosted by this guy they
Children of the
mentioned.
Corn,
His
part
name is
three.
Shaq.
Fuck.
That was the big guy with the jersey on, the host of the party. Did you ever go
Why
to
does
any parties like this?
never been to a rave? Never been to a rave. Never been to a farm party. Never. No, I don't do secluded. No, absolutely not. Why did Linderman show up on a bicycle with a basket? Why did you let him do that?
Because he in just a few hours he was going to throw newspapers in people on people's driveway after the party. He was just getting ready.
I was like, why did you do that?
So he didn't have to come back. So Lori's sitting there with her business casual outfit. And so Linderman walks up and tries to hit on her again. And Kia's like, "Linderman, you're trying this again." And then he fries Kia. I can't remember what he says. He's
Oh,
basically
I
like,
got it.
"You're
I got
basically,
it.
oh, okay."
He said, because she called him a bedwetter because they beer ponged him and got him, he was all wet. And so he's like, Kia, I used to think that you didn't like me because I wasn't good enough for Lori, but that's not true, is it? You tear me down because you really hate yourself, which is actually sad when you think about it, assuming, of course, you can think without that makeup weighing down your face. I was
And then Kia falls in love with him immediately.
like, excuse me? Like, what? I understood what he was trying to say, but the whole that makeup, I, like, sir, shut the fuck up. And but yeah, so he fries her and walks away, and he told her something. He Shantae, you don't stay. And so Will shows up, and Kia goes and falls in love with Linderman so she can distract him from the fact that Lori don't want his ass. She want Will.
Mm-hmm.
And so they reminisce, and they're like, talking about like, lost time or whatever. Gib over here. So the kids are at the rave talking about the fact that, Freddy is the one who killed Blake and Trey, and like they're just how kids are just fucking dumb. Like, kids are
Mm-hmm.
fucking stupid. When they don't know something and they just be talking, they're dumb, and that's how they sound. And so Gib walks
Adults do that too. Let's keep it
Gib
real.
Gib walks by, and she hears I don't even, what the fuck is his name? Friedberg.
Shaq.
No, the skinny
Oh,
one.
Freeberg.
Yeah,
Freeberg.
and
Yes.
she hears him like talking shit about Trey, and I mean he's a teenager, and so she gets mad, and she goes walking off in the cornfield by herself with a beer and a cigarette. And then the fucking sexual predator sees her. Ugh. And
No,
so
so first she sees Trey in the corn and he tells her to follow him and he's like, "Babe, you know I don't like to wait." And I was like, "Oh shit, it really is him." So she
fuck you.
definitely follows so she
Fuck you.
follows behind him and she ends up at a mill, like an old mill or something out in the woods. I don't know exactly what it is. And
It's a,
Freddy,
no, it's a meal.
Freddy starts taunting her, and then we flip back to the real world and we see that Gib is passed out in the corn. She's laid out on the ground, and then a creepy pervert comes up and tries to assault her while she's passed out in the corn. Disgusting. So we skip back to the mill, and basically before Freddy can kill her, Jason actually kills her and pulls her out of the dream. And Freddy is like, "No, this is my kill." So this is why. So this right here is the catalyst of why they're beefing at this point, because Freddy was on Jason's side.
Right. I want to push back on Freddy. Sir, you could have ended this at any time. You could have literally just been like, I mean, you did it in the beginning of the movie, pretend to be his mom and tell him to go home. Why would you think that this motherfucker was just gonna go home by itself? Because Jason, I'm gonna be honest, Jason is giving me full spectrum in this movie. Like his movements, the way he like comprehends things, he's just very like, I was like,
I see it as robot.
because he's like I was like, Jason, are you okay? I'll give him Mama's Boy. He's given very much so, maybe he's mentally at the same age as when he died. Because you wasn't but nothing but a baby when they drowned you. And so this is the beginning of
We're
Jason's
back.
fucking rampage. And
Yeah.
so Jason, I don't know who pissed him off. I love that line in the movie.
Wait.
That hockey was pissed about something. Because literally he runs up on Shaq.
Shaq says, "This Everclear is kicking my ass."
I say that at every house party now, even if nobody's drinking Everclear, because damn it, that is hilarious.
You just say it for anything. "This lemon drop is kicking my ass." This IPA.
It does. I remember when I was first exposed to Everclear, and I was like, "What is the alcohol?"
It just tastes like you just dipped into rubbing alcohol.
That's yes, I was like, "Oh my god!" But yeah, and so the other 40-year-old high school student is he gets his neck broken, and so this is I'll give Shaq this. This was a smart move. Like, you just killed somebody, let me react. He dumps the Everclear on him and lights him on fire. He just didn't know that he was dealing with Jason motherfucking Voorhees, Jason Javante Voorhees. And so Jason Javante Voorhees takes out his machete.
He definitely no, I don't give it to him. Jason does not get a black card. His name is Jason William Voorhees. No.
Not William, not he's of the Prestige.
Justin Jeffrey Voorhees. He's not. No, we can call him JJ if you're nasty, but we're not calling him Javante.
And so Shaq tries to run in a straight line for some reason.
Shaq was getting it. Shaq was
he was getting it.
He was, for him to be that wasted, he was the smartest person in the movie.
Yeah, and so, but he don't get too far because he didn't know Jason liked to throw shit. But
he didn't know Jason was part of the MS-13 with the machetes. Pow! Or was that Mara Salvatrucha? That is MS-13. Pow! I used to watch Gangland religiously.
Nobody likes you. Nobody likes you at all. And so Shaq is dead.
That show was really good until they talked about the gangs in Alaska, and then I was like, oh no. And I turned it off. It's too damn cold to be trying to fight somebody. Get out of here.
Look, have you seen that guy who's famous on TikTok for talking about the crime in Alaska?
Yes, I have. Yes. I mean, he's like, we're in the hood. We're in the hood, and it looks like a suburban neighborhood in Mississippi. It's like,
be in the hood now, baby.
You in the hood now, baby.
Polar bears be out there tripping. And so Jason just gets mad and he just starts killing all these teenagers. Like, he just slashing them, gashing them. They're trying to actually fight
Cut
Jason.
Another hole of gas.
They're trying to actually fight Jason, it's refreshing. But I didn't realize how tall he was until I rewatched this movie, because like he's way taller than the jocks. So I was like,
he's
damn.
like at least 6'6", 6'7", like, something around there. Damn,
Jason. And so why he has a weapon and y'all have nothing. Y'all trying to like fight him with beer and shit, and he's just slashing him with this terrible squirting blood that you can see is like in their shirt and squirting. I was like, and so the kids, the main characters, they're running out. They see Gib dead. They trying to mourn her while everybody get the fuck up and get out of there. Morning in the car,
Right.
morning in the car, morning in the car. Like,
We
come
gotta
on now.
go, baby. We
It's
gotta
like
go.
2012. We don't have time for this. Get in this car and drive. And so they're like, we gotta go to the police. They're like, fuck the police. Like, Linderman, like, drop me off at home. Fuck all this shit. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't seem the safest. And so they drop everybody else off. Kia go home. They go home. And so Lori and this motherfucker are in the car with the headlights on in the rain. So that's when he basically tells her, look, bitch. So while I was in, this is what happened. I saw your dad, and then her dad just bangs on the door. Get out of the fucking door.
No. He does. He tells her. He said, "I saw your dad kill your mom." And then the dad bangs on the door, and he's like, "This is why I got sent to the asylum. Lori, please believe me."
Yeah,
and Lori's like,
choking his ass.
Lori's like, "My mom died in a car accident." Then so the dad and Will are fighting. They're tussling a little bit, and Lori's like, "Stop! Stop!"
It's raining again, by the way.
And she runs to the house, starts running up the stairs. The dad comes in after her. He's like, "Dad, did mom die in a car accident?" And he's like, "Yes, of course." She's like, "Well, show me her obituary." Not her obituary. What's it called?
Death certificate.
Show me her death certificate. And the dad was like, "Well, humana. I lost it." And he can't. And he's like, "Here, take these pills and get some rest. You look really tired."
Why he pull the pills out from Tiffany? He could be walking around with the pills.
Like, he been dropping them in her drink for the past 4 years, and she has not known.
Like,
he probably, when he goes to the grocery store and he opens up the milk, he just dumps it in the milk and closes it back up. He puts that in the whole milk and puts it back in the fridge, and he gets himself skim so he knows Lori won't drink it. Pulls it in there.
He like, look, babe, take these pills and take a nap. She's like, I don't want to take no motherfucking nap. I want to know why you lied to me. And so she run off and she go and lock her door. It's still so very creepy because we like understanding that he's trying to protect his daughter. He's just going about it in a very perverted way. Like he banging on his daughter. Open the door, God damn it. It's just very weird when dads act like that. And so she jump out the window, she climb out, and she go walking down the fucking street. Like you didn't just see a bunch of people get murdered by this big ass dude. And so Will snatches her up. Like he don't realize that she is in the same situation. I'm like, why do y'all scare these women?
How hard was it to have been like, "Hey, Lori"?
I mean, clearly. And so, he snatches her up and somehow they just go grab the gang again, and everybody's just
that's not what happens. So,
I'm just saying that's what's gonna happen by the time we get to the next scene. We know we're at the police station.
No.
Yeah,
so the next scene, I watched this movie. I'm about to show you that I can actually watch a movie, because usually it's really hard for me. Anyway, so Will picks up Lori in the van, and the van of destiny, and he's like, "We gotta go get Mark." So you know what that means. Mark's about to fucking die. So they go over to Mark's, and we see Mark, and he's basically sitting at his desk, and he hears this noise in the bathroom. So he walks over to the bathroom, and he sees his brother in the tub with blood everywhere, with his wrist slashed. And his brother sounds like Freddy. And, basically he's taunting him, and he ends up getting attacked by Freddy. He throws him against the wall, and Lori and Will show up. And of course he has, bars on his window, like, "Where do you live, Compton, in 1980? Like, what is going on?" So they can't get to him. So Mark is being slashed and gashed, cutting a hole in his ass, thrown all around the room, and then his backlight's on fire. And so Freddy basically was telling him, "I need you to give a message to everybody." And Mark's like, "No." He's like, "Okay, well, I'll do this shit myself." So he burns Freddy's back into Mark's back, and Lori and Will then run off and go get the rest of the gang, because they have to figure out how to do what they're gonna do. You did miss part. Thank you.
Cameo, his brother is the bully from A Christmas Story. And so
why does Freddy look like a piece of pizza in my background?
I hate you so much. Oh, that cheese is runny. And so so we're at the police station. And so basically the Greg from Scary Movie is he's compiling evidence, and he's basically like, because they have all the crime scene photos of what happened at the rave. And so he's basically trying to tell the sheriff, he thinks there's a copycat of the killer from Crystal Lake. For some reason, the sheriff is just a fucking asshole with his cigar and his George Bush picture in the background. And
the sheriff should have had an English accent because he was acting like everybody in that mother. We're not calling the FBI. What do you mean? Like bloody hell! Like.
And so he's just like being
kids were murdered in a cornfield. He would not need to call the FBI. They would already be on their fucking way.
Yeah, and then also it's pissing me off because so you thought all these kids were asleep at the cornfield, like even though the deputy is like, I mean the deputy is kind of right, but like, are you not understanding that there could possibly be just somebody like what he's saying? It could just be a copycat because Freddy has not killed anyone yet. So really, he's right. It is Jason or a copy. Like, even if you want to go with the whole, it's a copycat thing. So the fact that he just freaking out, I'll have you locked away and like, sir, calm your motherfucking ass down and get this cigar out of my fucking face, bitch. And so the sheriff goes and, well, not the sheriff, but the deputy, he goes, and I guess he just goes lurking around town because what else was he doing? He was just driving around town until he found a Scooby van. And so the kids are, I don't know where the fuck they are, in somebody's basement. And so they're sitting up there. And
maybe let's say it's Linderman's.
I don't want to believe Linderman lived there.
Okay, they're at Freeberg's house.
Yes, and so they're just basically putting it all together, and so they get to the point where these motherfuckers figure out, oh, well, you know, well, no, they don't figure it out yet, but they're just talking about Freddy, and then the sheriff comes in, and he's basically like, you know, he gives them the origin of Jason, and so that's this part made me weird because Linderman was like, oh no, it's not a copycat. I've seen what he can do. He's the real Jason. You don't even fucking know. You didn't even know about Jason until this bitch walked in. And he didn't say anything about resurrection or like superpowers. He just said like legend has it he kept coming back in. So I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? They took it way too well for me. And then
plot armor.
The minute that he said Jason, so Jason and Freddy, Jason brought Freddy back. Freddy brought Jason back in order to get us to fear him. And so M equals MC squared, YX equals MB. I don't know the other algebra thing. I never did that sine and co thing, but it was just like they put it together like that. And I was like, well, damn, Freddy, clearly your plan was not that well thought out.
The cosine of pi 6 is square root of 3/2.
Exactly, 3.14. And so they put it all together. And so that's when shit get creepy. Because they start talking about, oh, well, you know, what we gonna do? Give Freddy a sacrifice? And I was like, what the
and Lori's sitting there, in her a beautiful mind, and she's just hearing all the words coming in, and you know, she sees like all the equations floating in the air, and Jason and everything, and she's like, wait a minute. Freddy died by fire. Jason died by water. How can we use this? And everybody looks like, oh my God, she did it.
Yeah.
She did it.
And so they're like, let's offer somebody a virgin sacrifice. And so Linderman's like, bitch, I get pussy even if I pay for it. And Kia, messy ass, is like, well, we all know who the real virgin is here. And so she's like, yeah, I know. And she's like, Will want to fuck me, not sure. And so he's like, well, they'll tie the bitch up.
Wait, she said, you know you never made it with Will. Who the hell says made it? I don't know. So, and then we realize, of course, that Lori's asleep because so after she says that, they're all like, let's get the bitch. Let's tie her up. And somebody pulls duct tape out of nowhere. He's like, with the duct tape. And then Lori's like, oh no, what's going on? And then her dad shows up and kisses her. Even though it's a movie, it was still disgusting. But then the dad turns into Freddy.
He said, come on, the daddy look.
Like, gross! And then she grabs onto Freddy's ears, and everybody's shaking her, like, what's going on? And she wakes up, and everybody's like, are you okay? Are you okay? And she opens up her hand, and Freddy's ear is in it, and she drops it, and then the ear turns to maggots.
Ugh,
and then the deputy is like, stepping on the maggots, trying to kill him. I mean, he was just mushing them in the carpet.
You know what he did?
Carpeted basement.
You know what he did, Tiffany?
What did he do?
He said, oh, I hate that.
Maggots. I hate when that happens.
I hate when this. Basically, that's when they're like, you weren't having. He was like, we weren't having dreams at Weston Hills, And so she was like, "Were you on any drugs?" And so that's when they do their Kim Possible. And so they're like, no, that was a Nickelodeon tone. I hate myself. And so
Nickelodeon.
Burning Hell, Dan Schneider. And so they search Hypnosil, and of course it just pops up. And they're like, "Oh my god, it's not approved by FDA, and it's used for suppression of dreams. Oh my god, we need those pills." And so
Lori doesn't have like, oh shit, I haven't dreamt in a while either. My dad offered me some pills earlier. Maybe I could just go home and get them from him. But no, they decided to go back to Weston Hills and use the same key card that they used to escape. Like, they didn't deactivate that motherfucker's key card at that point.
Baby,
It had been
as
like a day
someone
and a
who
half.
deactivates badges, that's crazy too. Because the minute you knew it was gone, and they escaped, that badge should have been deactivated. But they get in the back door, same back door, and run up in there. Jason right behind them. How this bitch knows where they are? I don't like. Does Jason have LoJack?
How does Freddy know the layout of this? Not Freddy. I'm sorry. How does Jason know the layout of this town?
Because, like you said, it took him a while to walk there, and then he walked around town before he got to Lori's house that night. He had to get some gummy worms, some style gummy worms.
Haribo.
And so, trolley, and so,
boo.
And so they go and they're
in
split up because they in the fucking Scooby Gang and shit. And they're like going and like Lori, Kia, and Will go and they see all these comatose ass patients and shit, and they're not doing anything significant. Like, they trying to like looking for Scooby snacks and clues and shit. And then Linderman and the cop and Freeberg, this pisses me off. This is why I don't fucking like stoners. And I get it, like, oh my god, legalize weed. Yeah, bro. We're in a situation that is very serious. And he talking about, hey, let's take a little J break. Why? Like, it be motherfuckers like that. He one of the people who wake up and smoke weed without brushing your teeth. Like, why?
Why did they even bring him?
People are dying, Kim. And he talking about, let's smoke. Like, let's smoke real quick. And so,
Jason.
Wait a minute. Why did they go get him? Like, out of all these
people, when they left the corn maze and ran off, Freeberg got in the van with them, so he heard the rundown.
Okay.
When they were, so he escaped with them.
Okay.
So then we see Jason kills the security guard. He throws like a fucking medicine cabinet on him or something. I don't know.
No, he kicked the damn door down because he couldn't get in. Jason said, "Open the door, please."
And Jason's legs turned into fucking Chun-Li's legs the way he kicked that damn door down. He said,
"Did you see all the bruises in it?"
Yap.
You're killing me. Please stop. My stomach is hurting. And so, did you see
the fucking roll today?
Did you see the holes in the door from where I was like, oh my god. Like, Jason,
did you hear me? Yap. He
fucking them. Now you make me want to go play Street Fighter 2 on my Switch. Like, so yeah. So Jason just, again, red paint, all that blood from the door slamming. I was like, okay, anyway. And so that's while Freeberg is smoking because he just had to have some weed. Don't do drugs, kids. Remember Dare. And so he sees a fucking Pokemon roll up, and he starts.
It was like a caterpillar.
I was like, "Fuck you, Freddy." And this was nostalgic to the movies though, because Freddy be playing with these kids too much. And so he rolled up.
I told you he was in pizza.
And so he pulls out a bong and he blow it in his face, and so he starts to follow the slug. And so basically the slug goes into his mouth, and Freddy starts controlling him in the real world. And so he busts open the cabinet with his hand. Why couldn't you just open it? And
so time out. That was the same cabinet in the same room that Lori, Kia, and Will were in. Why the fuck did they not check the frosted glass cabinet for the Hypnosil?
Because they weren't looking for pills. They were looking for her father. What her father had. I don't know.
They were looking for pills.
That not at that moment. Well, because he said he said that your dad's name is at the bottom of these charts, and she got just too flustered and she had to walk away.
They went to the asylum.
They were in the same room.
They went to the asylum to get the pills.
She got flustered because she found out her dad has been lying to her this entire time. So she had to walk away. She's a blonde. She just had to walk away.
So, anywho, Linderman and the deputy are in the room and they see Freeberg tossing the hypnocil down the sink because he is possessed by Freddy. And then all of a sudden Jason comes out of nowhere and starts and they're in the control room, and he tries to slash this Greg. He tries to slash the deputy and misses him and hits the control panel and starts electrocuting himself, and then he grabs the sheriff and then they both get electrocuted. So Jason and the sheriff and the machete are getting electrocuted, and Linderman grabs the deputy's gun and like tries to shoot him. So he runs out in the hallway, and
he does not try to shoot him. He just did you hear that? Okay.
Yeah, so
that's what he does. He don't try to shoot him. He points the gun. He points the gun and then just screams and runs off. And so that's when the electricity is happening, that's when they're like, hey, let's go back upstairs to that room that we just came through where the pills might be. So now when they see all the pill bottles on the floor, they're like, they're all empty. Where are the pills?
Jinkies, what happened?
Scooby, Daphne, oh my God, Frederick, oh my God. And so that's when Jason decides to throw the sheriff's body through the damn door for no. Jason is just like very like he be doing
At
the
that
most
point,
this whole movie.
He turned into
come on,
Dalsim. You know how Dalsim, he just pushes his hands out like that and push Jason out. There's no noise when he does it. So, let's just say yoga. Yoga flame.
I wonder if Capcom is gonna copyright this. And so they go running, and so they see Freeberg. Freeberg got some syringes, and he pulled like a bunch of tranquilizer into some syringes, and so he's just standing in the hallway, and they're like, Freeberg, like, come on, we gotta go. Why they're waiting for him, I don't know. I would have left. Tiffany, you got one. You got one. Tiffany, let's go. After that, it's on you.
And then he goes,
let me handle this
bitch.
And then he's still talking about what? And he's like, come on, man, like, you doing too much. He don't want to come. He gonna have to stay. So Jason, okay, so he turns into Zangief. And so he busts down. He don't even kick the door. He just straight busts the door down this time. And I was just like, Jason, are you okay? He even kicks the door.
Oh, I missed the part when he was getting electrocuted. He was Blanca. I'm going through the whole cast, baby.
Vega. And so he walks up to Linderman, and so that's when Laurie's like, hey, you guys, look, he has syringes. And so Jason walked all the way up on Freeberg, and so he sticks him with the syringes, and then Jason say, oh, bitch, that hurt. And so he slices them in half.
Like Balrog. No,
Balrog was a boxer. Fuck you.
Oh,
you meant Vega.
You know what? So there's different versions of it. Oh my God, I'm about to give you some Street Fighter knowledge. So the boxer's name was originally M. Bison, but it was so close to Mike Tyson that they had to switch. So the top guy, who is now M. Bison, was Vega. So Balrog became the Spanish guy.
Okay.
Vega became M. Bison, and M. Bison became. Wait, what's the boxer's name now?
Balrog. What the fuck?
Because of copyright, M. Bison was too close to Mike Tyson because he was
crazy.
A boxer.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep.
Especially since
huge Street Fighter fan.
Motherfucker, we all played Punch Out. Don't play with me, and you can't beat it. It's
yeah. So those three changed names. At one point. I hate that game. Yeah. So Jason slashes him in half, and then the kids. Jason actually falls out. The tranks actually do tranquilize him, and he falls out. And then Jason's asleep, and then it's round one, fight. And then you hear boom, 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 boom.
And so basically, now this is the part that pisses me off just a little bit. So the kids, and this is just behind the scenes, you don't see this part, but the kids basically pick Jason up put him into the barn, grab the what's left of the tranquilizers, and drive off with him. How, Tiffany? If Jason is truly 6'7" and he can bust down doors with his shoulders,
you know what they probably did? They went in the back into the room with the comatose kids, and they got one of those gurneys.
This is not Goosebumps. And so, in the dream world, Jason is getting lectured by his mother in her turtleneck, and she's just like, "You're like a big stupid dog who can't stop eating, even though your master said you've had enough." And so, Jason's sitting up there, he doing this move, like he putting his head all down. He's like a little hurt doggy with his tail between his legs, and that's when he hears Freddy's laugh. Ooh, I can't do it. And that's when Freddy's like, "We got to put this bad dog to sleep for good." And so that's when Jason realizes.
Why does Freddy laugh like that the whole movie?
And so this is when Jason is like, he puts two and two together, and he's like, "Wait a minute, Mama not there, Freddy here. Is this bitch playing me?" Jason turns straight up action mode. Like, he is so. This is why I want to call him Javante, because he's so ready for action this entire movie. So they get to scuffling, and Jason thinks he's killing Freddy, but then that's when he realizes, oh, bitch, this is Freddy's world. He can do whatever he wants to do. So Freddy starts whooping his ass. Like, whooping his ass. And he playing ping pong with him.
Freddy literally turns into Ryu. He has to be Ryu at this point because he's the strongest character in Street Fighter. So he's whooping him up and down.
He's playing Street Fighter ping pong with Jason. He dropping shit on him. It's just a lot. He's just really doing a lot. And so then he comes to the realization he ain't killing this bitch. And so that's when Jason tries to throw, like, Jason be throwing him around and shit like a rag doll. And so that's when the sprinklers go off. And when the sprinklers go off, that's when Freddy he comes to the realization that Jason is scared of water. I did not know this. I didn't know this was
how.
I didn't know this was a thing.
How?
You've seen God damn it, you've seen Friday the 13th. I have not. Is this a thing? He's never been around water this entire time?
So he drowned in water.
Yes.
And then at the end of Friday the 13th, he jumps out of the water.
Okay.
And grabs somebody.
Right. But is that the only time? Because
he's been in the water very often.
Because I'm just like, where did this come from?
So I think.
And nobody decided to throw a glass of water on this man?
So hold on. So Jason is transformed back to his young self. So his young self would be scared of water. But as an adult, no.
I'm not buying it. You and the writers have some explaining to do.
Yeah, so again, it would take them 7 hours to drive from
oh my God,
Ohio to New Jersey. I did my research, baby.
Tiffany. I forgot about the drive.
So Jason is still laying down. He's still a kid, scared of the water, and Freddy is torturing him, and he puts his finger glove blade into his head.
Yeah.
So and then we have a sequence of Jason, a dream inside of a dream, and another dream. A dream is a wish your heart makes. And Jason is walking through water as an adult, dragging bodies into the house. So how does this make sense? This is so contradictory.
I feel like they had to give Jason a weakness. That's the only way this movie would have worked. They had to give Jason a weakness. And so they just chose the most obvious one. I don't know. I would have done like a dream sequence where he was like, his mom was being hurt, or I don't know. Because he clearly has no, this man done died, whatever. So they're driving their 7-hour drive, as Tiffany had to point out. And so they're basically tranking him like every few minutes to keep him asleep. And so they have hatched this plan that they are going to trank Lori so she can go into the dream world, because somehow when she goes to sleep, she's going to be in Jason's dream too. How does that work? And so maybe his dream warrior, I don't know, but I didn't know.
They were sleeping beside each other. So when you sleep beside somebody, you have the same dream.
That's a Nickelodeon fucking trope. I won't let you do it. And so, because you know how the dream bubbles be next to each other, so this is okay. So my tranking is not the same as just falling asleep. That's like a chemical.
How did they think they were going to immediately wake her up? Exactly.
That's my point. It's not like it's a drug in your fucking vein. So what do you mean you about to wake her up when you trank her? Are you insane?
Like they
Y'all
would have
would.
been better off punching her and
I'm
knocking her
so
out.
glad you said that. Like in Freddy's Dead when he's like, just fucking lay me out, and she just knocks it. Like I'm like, why did y'all think y'all were gonna wake her up? This bitch is dead for at least 5 hours, and so
And honestly, they're all so tired. She probably could have sat there and fell asleep herself.
I mean, she did throughout the entire damn movie. She hadn't been asleep since the
But
first
when we
night.
need you to go to sleep, you ain't sleeping.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Hell,
so Lori enters the dream
we
world
see.
because
Yeah.
you can do that, and she at Camp Crystal Lake, and she like it was very like it made me dizzy the way they filmed it. It was like very like fever dreamish. And so she sees the kids
Mm-hmm.
teasing Jason. I would have teased them too, because you're the only person with pants on. We're at summer camp. And so she sees all this happening, and she goes to run to the camp counselors, and of course, one of them's like fucking in broad daylight. And so she's like, "You're not gonna help the kid?" And he's like, "Can't you see I'm busy here? You mean you're not coming?" It's not my fault this bitch is dead on her feet. Bro, I hate Freddy so much. And
Freddy
so,
and Jack Frost would get along well.
hello, I can see my house from here. And so, that's when she realizes, oh, me, Freddy, and Jason are in the same dream. But Freddy don't pay her no mind, even though he knows she's there. So she tries to go and help Jason drown, but she's a
She
petty.
goes to help Jason drown.
She goes to help Jason from drowning, but she's a petty ass, superficial bitch. And when he comes out of the water, she's like, "Oh my god, you're ugly." And so,
She said, "Oh my god, it's the mask."
people do not know that movie. People
Not
do not
Jim
know
Carrey's The Mask. Not
People
Jim
don't
Carrey's The
know
Mask.
that movie. They don't know that movie anymore. They don't know that movie, and they don't know Powder. We need to bring them back because they don't. Those movies are like classic bullies.
We need to leave them in the 90s.
You know, Powder.
I'm good.
Powder.
I'm good.
Here's the brick in my hand. I can't wait to throw it at a faggot. And so, and so she like Jason freaks her out, but then she tries to go help him drown again. And then Freddy comes up and he's like actively drowning Jason. He got him at the bottom of the lake. And so Jason starts drowning in real life, but he's like drowning in a way that I've never seen before. Like water's just gushing out of his face. And so
why didn't they just turn him on his side?
Oh, motherfucker. I'm about to quit. I'm about to literally.
These fucking dumbass kids.
All right, y'all.
From Ohio decide to give Jason mouth to mouth with water still gushing out. How am I breathing? I'm pushing air into your mouth and you're pushing water into mine. How are we? We're both actively killing each other.
Yeah, and so Linderman can't do it because he has had asthma since he was 6. So they're like, "Kid, you gotta do it because you're the only black girl." And so I was like, they would have just had to like, what are they gonna do if I say no? What are they gonna do? Are you gonna kick me out the van? Good, I'll survive. Like literally, what I would not have done it, especially when she was lifting up his mask and you see his decayed, like, and then his rotten. Because Jason,
it was so gross. It was so gross.
And so she's about to do it, and then that's when boom, Jason just wakes up and he wakes up and immediately like untapes himself because they had him duct taped. He just immediately gets out of everything. Linderman get freaked out and shoot the gun right next to Will's ear. I would have beat the shit out of him. That's why was he holding the gun? Why was he holding the gun? Like he should have been holding the gun. And so
yeah,
the van tips over. Jason flies out miraculously. He the only one who fly out the van. And so in Dream World, Freddy is like, wait a minute, he's gone, but you still here. He gets pissed. And so he jump out, he demon Freddy, and her.
This is the coolest shot of the movie when he jumps out of the water so slow
and
that
lands
makeup
on the ground. When he was all like devilish, I was like,
oh my god,
that's how he should have looked. If he had looked like that in the.
So Freddy turned into Guile when he does a flash kick.
You are out of control. You are out of control. They are going to flag this. Sonic boom. And so that makeup
flash kick
good. It would have made me scared of him if that's how he looked throughout all the movies, because that was very demonish. So her watch goes off, her timer that she had. I don't know why she had. I don't know what that was supposed to do. And so she's like, okay, here's my chance. And so she turns into who the fuck Raiden, and she zooms towards him, and she knocks him over, and she's like, wake me up, I got him. And he's like, bitch, they're not waking you up, you took a tranquilizer. And so bam, she's at her house in a dress. And so she's like, I can't scream because my microphone. And so that's when she realizes she's trapped. And now they're trying to wake her up, like, Lori, wake up. They shaking her, they slapping her, tossing her, kicking her. And so that's when Kia's like, look, guys, we're right next to Camp Crystal Lake all of a sudden. And so let's walk there. And so
the car only crashed 35 feet from the entrance sign.
Yeah.
We made it.
Yeah. So they walked Camp Crystal Lake. And so Lori's in dreamland watching her mom get murdered. And that's when she realizes that her dad didn't kill her mom. He was covering up her mom's death as Freddy was killing her. But I didn't understand that. Like, from vantage point, what was the point of you going to the room with a knife? Like, what were you doing? You can't stab Freddy.
I think maybe she probably heard the mom screaming, so he ran to go to try to save her. And, and then, of course, it was just Freddy killing her, and he didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Okay.
Let's just roll with it. Let's roll with it.
Okay. Anyway, and so, that's, he's like, I always had a thing for the whores that live in this house. And so he's over there.
In this house. It's supposed in this house. It's supposed in this house.
And so this part is particularly gruesome for me. It was very I don't know if I would say cringy, but it was very dark. And so basically he's like slicing her tits because the director needed there to be blood on her tits because they needed you to like pay attention to the fact that she has big tits. And so he's slicing her tits, and then he even like lifts up her dress, and he's like, you can hear the clanking and clinkling, and it's just like, you just don't want to imagine what's happening to her right now. And
this is what's happening to Lori, not Lori's mom, because you never
this is happening to Lori at this point. And so they're in a random cabin trying to wake Lori up still, and
they're in a cabin in the woods.
And they're trying, and they can visibly see things are happening to her, and and he's just like, Lori, he's like slapping her, but he ain't slapping her hard enough for me.
No.
I would have kneed her, I would have punched her in her nose, I would have pulled her hair, I might have spit on her. But yeah, she's just not waking up. And so Jason, because of course he is psychic, he is a telepath, and he goes to the Xavier Institute for gifted students, and he knows where they are. So he busts through the wall. There's a door, like Jason.
Like E Honda. So he goes, puh, 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 puh.
How did you get the sound? And so it's literally like Street Fighter, because you know how you had to break the bricks and shit.
Oh my god, you had to beat the car up?
Yes, like, what the fuck is this? And so they wanted us to do vandalism when we were kids. And so he busts through the wall, even though there's a door right there. Jason is pissing me off this entire movie because he does not care about property damage. And so he walks in, he knocks over gasoline and a candle that just happened to be sitting there. So now we got a ring of fire. And so
I fell on to the ring of fire.
Kia and Linderman are like, let's save the day. And so I don't know who they turn into, but they decided the brilliant idea, let's get a random wooden desk in the cabin, and we're gonna protect Will by pushing it in front of Jason's machete, getting it stuck in the table. And so Linderman's like, oh, I'm gonna push pots and pans on Jason to stop him. That'll surely work. And then he just runs off. And so Kia's like, oh, wow, a screw on the table. I don't know who she turns into. Nobody had a stick. But she's like, I'm Gambit, and I'm going to beat your ass. And so Jason's like, bitch, this don't even hurt. And so he moved her to the left. She busts up against the wall.
He tosses her. Oh, you know that move in Street Fighter? When they grab the person and they do like the backflip and they throw them? And so rolled them back and threw her ass.
And so she's down for the count. And so in the midst of all this, oh god, Will is such a terrible boyfriend. He's dragging Lori. Mind you, Jason did slash his back, and it was like a big slash, like he squirted a little bit. So I don't know how he's carrying her, but he's dragging her through the fire, so her hand gets caught on fire. And so that wakes her up to where she's able to grab Freddy and pull him into the regular world. And so Freddy's like, holy shit, I'm scared now because now I'm mortal, and I use that term very loosely because it's very hard to kill him apparently in this movie. And so that's when Linderman, he grabs a flagpole. So Linderman tries to fight Jason with the American Society, and so he's like, "Not my country." And so he's like,
he said he's gonna make America great again.
Yes, and so he stabs him. Well, I don't know what he does with the flag.
So Linderman turns into Guile because Guile had the American flag tattoo on his arm. And his song was
You won't be forgiven for this. And so he
we forgot that part when Jason busted in like E Honda. He knocked over this gas can, and then I don't know how fire got on it. And
I literally said
fire.
that. I said the Ring of Fire.
But we don't know how it happened, is what I'm saying.
Because there was a
plot armor.
Because there was a candle in the cabin that had been abandoned for years, and so and it was the black flame candle.
That's what I was about to say.
A virgin lit the black flame candle, and
because
so
we know Laurie never made it with Will.
I hate you. And so Linderman gets knocked into the wall on like a hook. I don't know what that was. I don't know
like maybe a jacket hook.
Yeah, a jacket hook. And so Kia and Linderman are like, Kia and Linderman are like, we got fucked up enough. Let's go ahead and leave these bitches here. They don't even care about the friends no more. They're just like, let's escape. And so Freddy and Jason have this. This is the part where Ryu is fighting M. Bison because this is the final battle.
Yeah, this is the finale.
And it's very hard. It's very hard. He's using all these moves. The computer is cheating. You know how I go. And
oh my god, it's WWE SmackDown. I mean, they are fucking this campground up. Why was there so much? Were they just about to reopen the campground? Why was there so much shit there? What was up with all them helium tanks there? What was going on? Who was about to blow up all those balloons?
Every few years they got to reopen it because they just like the drama of it all. And so, it was weird because even in the real world, Freddy was whipping Jason's ass, and I'm like, dude, it's like what the fuck? Like, you've been killing this whole movie, and then Freddy come up. Freddy, let's be real. Freddy is a 40-year-old house husband. How is he fucking you up? And so, Kia and Linderman, like, Kia stop at like a tree, and she's like, you're hurt bad, and he's like, I'm okay. It's just a scratch. You'll wake up in the morning and find me a grave man.
Linderman turns into Cammy with all the scratches on her body.
A plague on both of your houses. And so, Kia turns into Leonardo DiCaprio and leaves her friend for dead. And so, then you see that Linderman basically got hurt worse than he thought, and he was just bleeding out. That was sad. I don't like that.
R.I.P. Linderman.
Yeah, that was sad. And so, spoiler alert, because like I said, I'm a nerd and I love the DVD extras. In a deleted scene, she actually kisses him. Yeah, she kisses him, and because she's like,
"Oh, Linderman, you were the only man I ever loved."
She's like, I'm gonna go and get help, but I'm coming back for you to kick your ass, because Kelly had to be all. She's like, and to kick your ass if you tell anybody I did this. And she kisses him, and I'm like, really?
He should have pushed her away and said, I like Laurie, right?
He should have He should have pushed her away and said, I don't date black girls.
Or when you gonna get that nose job?
If he had said
love you,
that,
Kelly Rowland. I love Kelly Rowland.
Oh my god! Like it was just.
So she runs. So now this is it. We're finally at the end. Thank God. Yes. Yeah. So Will and Laurie are running away, and Freddy comes up behind him, and he calls Laurie a bitch yet again. Like he is throwing him out. Mm-hmm. Like you said, Gambit throwing out them cards. Yo, it's like for real. He's dishing out the bitches for lunch, breakfast, and dinner. And then Kia runs up and she's like, Freddy! And he turns around and says, how sweet, dark meat.
And see the reason I was not afraid of Freddy, and the reason I was able to watch the movies as a child, because even though I was scared because nightmares, mm-hmm. I never saw him kill black kids until the third movie when he killed the black kid, the girl with the asthma, when he sucked the asthma out of her, and I had asthma when I was a kid. Yeah, absolutely not. And so, so Kia decides to fight Freddy with homophobia. So she turns into, I don't know, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And so,
Hey everybody, welcome to the Friday night comedy special. First up to bat, we got Kia all the way from Springwood, Ohio, with her stand-up special. Kia, take the floor.
So yeah, so she so yeah, so she's just over there calling him up like all kinds of F words and talking about his dick is small and all kind of stuff. Um, and so in the midst of that, Freddie starts backing up. Originally he's going towards her, then he starts backing up. And so even though she's taller than him, I'm like, Kia, you're not that intimidating. Read the room, girl. Read the fucking room. And so, and why are you sacrificing yourself for Lori? She got a whole man over there to help her. But anyway,
Kia could have survived this movie.
She could have, but she was like, I don't want to be like Brandy. I don't want to be in the sequel. And so Freddie's like, bitch, why you talking all this shit about me? Your op is right behind you. And so she like, my op? What's gonna do? And she turns around and Jason says, get out the way, bitch. And so she gets slammed into a tree, and then she slides down and she's all frozen, and then the woodland creatures from Snow White walk up and like, bitch, you okay? She's not okay. She's dead as a doornail.
She says, all right, that's my time. My name is Kia. Good night.
Right. And so that's when Freddy takes this initiative to go ham on Jason. And I mean, he is slash, gash, cutting hole in your ass. He like so tiny compared to him, and he jumping up and kicking. I was like, Freddy, what the fuck?
It was a lot. Like
I've never seen nobody fight like that in a turtleneck.
Long, throwing everything. Well, she did say he had a Christmas sweater on. I mean, just that. I mean, it was like punch, 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 toss, a barrel roll, flip, bust into a house.
It was
There's
like
fire
you're trying to beat Street Fighter with all the characters. And so it just went on forever. And so Jason finally knocks Freddy into like this helium tank, and it goes flying because he cuts it with his razor hands. Which, how sharp are these things, baby? Because they're cutting through, like, are they Wolverine's claws? Like, how many John words are we gonna skip through? Because now we're in X-Men. And so because I'm
going back to Balrog.
And so he's like, ban the torpedoes. And so
climbs up the fence.
hardest boss. And so he's like cutting the helium tanks and making them fly towards Jason. Jason is like just walking past them. Just a lot of dramatic shit.
Jason is like he was in the Matrix.
Yeah. And so he finally hits him with two of them. Then he like impales him with a bunch of spikes. I don't know what those things are called, but I see them all the time. And they like go through. He's just pulling them out all casually.
I think they were metal rods.
Metal rods. There we go. Hot rod. And so then he like, I don't know. There's this. He starts hitting him with this swing set, with this golden metal swing set. And so then he gets caught in the rope of the swing set. And then that's when he loses his foot. That's when he loses his I don't even know what is it called. His upper. He loses the upper hand. Thank you. I was gonna say upper garment, and that's when Jason starts pounding his ass, and for somehow the cart from Donkey Kong hits them, and they go flying all the way to the damn not the bridge. The pier. And so I was like, how does that happen? There's just a lot of mechanics going on. Like, where did the cart come from? And how does it hit that hard? And so they're on this is when they get to the pier, it's over with. Jason said, bitch, you got a couple licks in, but that didn't hurt. Pop, 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 pop,
he said, like, I've been on pause, but I'm finna press play in a motherfucking millisecond.
And he said, no, what he said was he said, I'm not going to spit because I got way more motherfucking class than you. I am, however, gonna bitch slap your so he starts slicing Freddy to pieces, like cutting him up. So he got Freddy on the ground and everything. And so during this whole thing, I'm sorry, we got to skip back to the dumb bitches in this movie. So Will is like, okay, let's just row your boat on out of here. Why they don't just walk out, I don't understand, but they're gonna just row out of here on the boat. And she like, no, because he killed my mama, and I ain't leaving until I see him die. So they hatch a plan to get the gas. They gonna get this gas thing,
Nozzle?
the gas nozzle, and they're gonna just blow them to
I
pieces.
think it was propane?
Yeah, well, yeah. And so they're like putting it all on the tanks and all on, like they're putting it propane and propane accessories. And so they're like, he like, Bobby, get them tanks over there. And so she's just like spraying it all with a gasoline. And because the cabin was on fire earlier, she goes and grabs some sticks. So Freddy getting fucked up until he throws his hand and then he cuts fucking Jason's fingers off. And so then he catches the machete. And then Jason gets stupid again. And so he starts cutting Jason to pieces. Like he like cutting his Achilles tendon. He cutting his back up. He slashing him with his claws and the machete. He gouges out his eye. Ugh! It was hard to watch at one point because then it started getting really gory. And he like he sticks his like glove all in his guts. And then Lori's like, go to hell. And so she like
she could have had a better line than that.
Yeah. And so she throws the fire, and then Freddy's like spooked. And while he's spooked, Jason like just straight fists him. Like straight fists him through the like guts and like, and so then he pulls off Freddy's arm. It was just very gory at this point because they're just they're both profusely bleeding, heavily incapacitated, but they're still fighting each other. Like Freddy's stabbing him with the machete still. And I'm just like, when did it take this much to kill Freddy? They usually do it in like 2 seconds once they pull him in the world. But he's like, there's a lot of durability all of a sudden. And so they eventually get blown up. And
finally, so they get, everybody ends up in the water. All four of them.
All four of them end up in the water. They get blown up. They get light on fire, and they get in the water. And then, you know, they come out the water, and they're hugging. They're like, we saved the day. Yay. We just probably caused thousands of dollars in property damage, whatever. And so then somebody gets out the water, and they're walking up, and they're all freaked out, and we don't know who it is. And the camera pans up, and it's Freddy with the machete. And so he's about to stab them.
Freddy with the machete. He just made a rhyme.
Jason pulverizes him through the chest with his own claw, and then he falls in the water. And so Jason's dead. And so Freddy's like, you know, kneeling, and he's just like,
Nope. Yeah, so he's making a lot of noises, like trying to breathe, trying to like, I can't believe this is happening to me. I can't. So Lori jumps up with the machete and she says, welcome to my world, bitch! And slices or
that was so
Freddy's
cringy. Oh, that was cringy.
It was bad. It was bad. 3 out of 10 for that delivery.
Yeah. And so Freddy's dead.
It was better when Freddy did it.
Yeah, it's Freddy's dead. His head goes into the water. They save the day, and they go off into the sunset. How they get back, I do not know. Because maybe they flipped over the van because it wasn't damaged. It was just on the side. And so
yeah, something. Who knows?
They gotta go all the way to Ohio, baby.
Then you see Jason get out of the water, right?
Jason gets out of the water.
Get out of the water. We're like, oh fuck, this is so you know. So that was like the big thing. Who's gonna win, Freddy or Jason? So at this point, we're like, oh shit, Jason won, and he's carrying Freddy's head. But then like it pans to the back where Freddy's head is now facing us in Jason's hand, and he's like,
wink,
wink at the camera, and then you hear, oh! in the background. Like, why was he screaming? Like, why was he?
I don't know why he does that. And so, yeah. And that is the end of the movie. Honorable mention: the sheriff should have died. There were a lot of people in this movie who did not die, and I needed them to die. Sheriff should have died.
Lori's dad should have died.
Yeah, but they just got to escape. But Kia had to die. Fuck y'all. So,
because this is something that has never been done before, I did go to see this in the movie theaters. Who would have? This was like the ultimate matchup. We had always been asking for this, even though the storyline wasn't the best. We wanted to see this, so for that, I'm gonna give Freddy versus Jason a 7 out of 10.
Okay, I will give it I'll give it an 8 out of 10 because they had black characters and they had a black main character. So I'll give it that.
And she lasted almost. She was She was the last person to die in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
besides Freddy and Jason, but they
Yeah.
didn't die. So yeah, she was the last person to die in the movie.
Yeah. So it was a fun ride. It's just it's very nostalgic. Like I remember I was too young to go see this movie. We had to sneak in. And it was just one of those big things. Like everybody was like, and then all the kids named Jason were like, "Oh yeah, I'm fighting Freddy tonight." It was just so hyped up. And
Lame.
and it pisses me off that we haven't really gotten anything like this since, because I don't count Alien versus Predator. Like we haven't gotten a Chucky versus
What
Leprechaun. We haven't gotten.
what matchup would you want to see?
I would want to see Chucky versus Leprechaun, and I would want to see Michael Myers versus Ghostface.
Ghostface is dead immediately. Ghostface loses that round.
So, I mean, maybe you would have to put him with Jason, but it's just like, I mean,
I would say
classic
Hatchet.
slashers.
Hatchet versus Jason.
Who the fuck is Hatchet? The Mardi Gras killer?
Yep.
I hate you. And I know they had like comic books after this, like they were supposed to be like Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, but I that never happened.
Oh,
I don't understand.
Evil Dead. Thank God.
Yeah, I don't understand how. But I don't know how much money it made. I don't know. Like, I don't know how they just left this at, like, they left it here, and then they just started doing reboots years later. So I thought that was very interesting. How
Yeah, so the Jason reboot after this wasn't bad. It was all right, but
no, the Freddy was terrible, but the Jason wasn't bad. It was. I thought the Jason was very well. The way because Jason was running in that one when he ran up and popped the guy.
They showed things that we didn't know. So like Jason had made an intricate tunnel system, so that's why he was able to pop up at different places, and he had like things that would ring bells when they would run over him, so he'd know exactly where everybody is. So that was pretty smart of that one.
Yeah,
but anyway.
No, it was pretty good. It was. I love the fact that he was running though. Like, baby, when he ran up and stabbed that man in the fucking forehead, I was like, oh my God. But yeah.
Well, all right, guys, that will do it for 2003's Freddy vs. Jason. Please be sure to follow us on Twitter X, Boo Shakalaka Podcast, YouTube, Boo Shakalaka Pod. Please email us at booshakalakapodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube sometimes, and on Apple Podcasts. Next week, we ain't even going to play around since it's the month of love. We got maybe two more love stories coming your way. So I have picked a sexy thriller.
Oh my God, I know what it is. I know what it is because I feel like I know what it is because like I got suggestions and I feel like it's one of those suggestions. I got two.
Okay, tell me what you got.
I got Fatal Attraction.
Okay.
And I got Death Becomes Her.
Incorrect. We're going to do the sexy 90s thriller.
Species.
Reese Witherspoon.
Oh.
And Mark Wahlberg. Fear, baby!
Oh, I forgot about Fear! Oh my God.
Fear.
That is hilarious. And the fact that
ultimate love story. Nicole forever.
Alyssa Milano, this is where I met you.
So we'll see you next time. Thanks for coming. Bye.
Bye.